am very worried about the future of West Ham, the future of the London Stadium, the whole thing. I'm starting to get a little bit concerned. This is not just about Upton Park, by the way. This is a major problem. A couple of days ago, I did a video where I've spent far too long, too many acronyms, too many abbreviations, trying to explain the situation whereby there was a lot of legal battling between the stadium, between the stadium solicitors, between West Ham. There's nothing new. Ever since that carpet, should we call it carpet gate, happened, there's been a massive conflict, I feel, between the stadium and West Ham. But it's got a lot worse. There's 2 additional things have happened since I did my video 3 days ago. Honestly, you could not write this stuff. Now, let me just get this absolutely right. I have no confidence with the stadium at all. And when I say I have no confidence in the stadium, I have no confidence that either we'll be in that stadium, let's say in 10, 20 years' time. In fact, 10, 20 years' time, that stadium won't even be standing in its current form because we are still dealing with a temporary structure. We'll get to that a little bit later. I'm going to try and brush over this. Look, there's too many LLDCs, Stadium 185s, E20s, Delaware Norths. It's confusing. The whole thing's bloody confusing. I'm going to deal with West Ham and I'm going to deal with the stadium, and I'm going to try and explain it as simply as I can. The other day, you may remember, I spoke about the stadium was so annoyed with the deal, the 99-year tenancy deal that West Ham got, that they sued the solicitors that signed off on the deal. I've no doubt in my mind, and this is just my opinion, I have no proof on this at all, but in my mind, I have very, very little doubt that there's people in and around that stadium and the management company and everything else who have poured over that contract just to try and attempt to get any way out of it they can, or to get more money out of West Ham. It appears the contract's watertight. The contract that Baroness Brady signed off on, created, you could say, it's watertight. There's no way to get out of them, but it's too good a deal. It's too good a deal. And what's happening is we've got a situation where the tenant has such a good deal, the landlord is going skint. So if we just accept that, forget who's right and forget who's wrong, just accept that, that's not a particularly healthy situation for either party, because I do think we've got a stadium that's falling down, is going to fall in disrepair. We need the landlord to fix it. We need a healthy landlord there for the stadium to be healthy. Look, don't get me wrong, I wish it had never happened. I wish we were back at Upton Park, but it's not. So let's just deal with the situation that we're in. So bearing in mind the stadium is making massive losses, what do they have to do? They have to try and claw some money back from somewhere else, right? Because it's operating at a massive loss. They are anticipating future borrowings of £232 million. That's just for West Ham to be in there. West Ham have got a deal of the century. The rent is so low that the landlord's having to top it up and the landlord's having to pay for everything. This is unsustainable. In the current economic climate, it's unsustainable. So what the stadium has to do, the stadium has to find a way to claw back extra money. Here's the 2 most recent things that have happened. So this is in the last couple of days. So it appears that West Ham are attempting to... Now, I cannot tell you who's who, but West Ham are attempting to take to court either the caterers, who are Delaware North, or the stadium over the price of a pint and a packet of crisps, basically. Now, by the way, right, I like crisps and I like pints, and I can tell you both are very, very expensive at the London Stadium. It's sky high. It's far too much money. So it would appear on the outset, actually, West Ham are doing a good thing. However, so even if West Ham are suing the stadium or trying to take the caterers to court, it ain't a good look. I don't think it's ever a good look, and I don't think it's ever productive for a long-term relationship, as I say, where a tenant starts suing their landlord, or all these legal things start happening. Look, let's just get one thing right. If we all accept that the beer, the hot dogs, the crisps and everything else are far too expensive in there, they really, really are, then once we've accepted that, what can West Ham do about it? West Ham knew they were renting that stadium. We knew it. At the moment we rent the stadium, we don't have any sort of say on what grub is served up in there, and what grub, what type of grub it is, whether it's expensive or whether it's crap or anything else. Now, I think what the club are trying to say is actually they had it written into the contract that it had to be reasonably priced. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. But I'm just seeing here, and I'm seeing the club have appointed Delaware North, and they're trying to claw back a little bit of money. And I'm not sure that anyway. So this factors into the other thing. That's really not the big issue. I'm not defending, by the way, the stadium, or indeed Delaware North. I'll tell you a story. I went to see, with my mate Wayne, we went to see Anthony Joshua fight Povetkin. Heavyweight fight. It was at Wembley Stadium. Now, as I understand it, the caterers at Wembley Stadium at the time were also Delaware North. We were, we'd been there, we were watching the undercard, and when we went and bought, we were buying pints all night, right? And the pints were something like £8 or something like that. The pints were £8. And I will never forget this. Just before the main bout was going to come on, and unlike West Ham at Wembley Stadium, when the boxing's on, you can take drinks to your seats. So I said to Wayne, I tell you what, let's get 2 pints each, and we're taken to our seats. We could be in for a long fight. You never know. All right. When we went there, I said, I'll have 4 pints of beer, please. The guy behind the checkout said that'd be £48. I said, no. I said 4 pints of beer. He said £48. I said, well, it's not £48. We've been buying pints all night at £8. And he said, no, they've gone up. Basically, it appeared that in this particular kiosk, at least, they'd put their prices up just before the main bout. Just before it, at the same night, at the same event. I thought, oh, this is not good. Now listen, as I say, it was a bad look. I didn't like it at all. So I'm not surprised that the prices at London Stadium are as extortionate as they are. Then what we're going to do is factor in what else has happened, right? So you have a situation where, as I understand it, the stadium, whoever, LLDC, E20, Stadium 185, I don't care, I'm beyond caring, it's all too confusing. Basically, whoever runs the stadium wants to sign a naming rights package for the stadium. So the stadium used to be called the Olympic Stadium, now it's the London Stadium, and I think that the sponsor is the Allianz. They want to turn it into, it won't be the Allianz Arena, it'll be the Allianz Stadium or the Allianz Dome or whatever the case may be. Now, as I understand it, and this is just the latest story, they're unable to sign that deal at the moment because West Ham have basically said, well, hold on a second, we don't agree with the deal. So I think West Ham believe that they're paid anything above $4 million. West Ham get paid. I think the stadium are arguing actually the deal you signed was anything above $4 million each season. You get where this might be a disparity here because it's going to be slightly different because even if it is just let's say it's $5 million a season. That would mean West Ham would just get $1 million every season as far as the stadium are concerned. As far as West Ham are concerned, West Ham would get basically $1 million the first season, then the next season they'd get $5 million, then $5 million again, then $5 million again. Basically, the deal is so prohibitively bad for the stadium can't sign a naming rights package. Now, they're going to contest this in the court. So this is another legal battle, if this happens, that West Ham will have with the stadium. This is not the first legal battle we've had with them. Go back, look on this channel, look at other things. This goes back a long time. This constant angst, this constant battle with the stadium, which is not healthy at all. We got this situation where we're constantly basically butting horns, go at heads. What is it? What is it? Clashing heads, butting horns? I don't know. You know, I was going to say like a couple of rutting stags. But basically, we're in total and utter conflict, it appears, the club is, with the stadium. You've got to remember, the club offices are in this stadium now. Also, the stadium operators' offices are also in the stadium. These people have to work in the same building. It's almost impossible that there's any sort of relationship going on. You get the impression, if you were working with people in the same building, you'd like to think that you'd build relationships, you'd be getting on, you'd be pulling in the same direction. I might be completely wrong in this. You get the impression that they're communicating via solicitors. This is not really good at all. I mean, back and forth with legal letters and whatnot. And it appears to me, from the outside, that West Ham are really driving home their deal. And I'm not sure to what end. There's a part of me which thinks, I don't know, that maybe the stadium are going to throw their arms up in frustration and just say, OK, you have it. Maybe that's the end game. Maybe that's it. But what if that doesn't happen? Then what you're actually doing is you really, basically, we're the tenant, they're the landlord, the roof's leaking, and what we're doing is we're pissing off the people that have got to fix the leaking roof. Not only that, any time they're trying to make a pound, we're trying to make it so as they can't make any money. I just think this is really, really bad for West Ham. I really do. I almost, from the outside looking in, I can imagine West Ham seeing this as a series of small victories. But the resentment that West Ham must be building up with the stadium operators, with the London Assembly, with anybody, with the mayor, all of these people. What we're doing is we're empowering them to be even more motivated. They're not gonna. We're gonna need favours at some point, and what we're not doing is helping ourselves. At some point, we're gonna need a favour. What's that thing they're gonna say? But better be really nice to everybody on the way up because you'll see them all again on the way down. There's going to be something that needs to be done. There's going to be something that happens with that stadium. And I'm pretty sure that there's going to be a load of Premier League rules that stipulate that West Ham have to put a game on and have to do so many games. There's going to be a point, if the stadium carries on like it is, that it just won't be feasible to put on Premier League games at some point. It might not be the near future. It might be 10 years' time. It could be something else. But if we get to that point and goodwill has been completely erased, what can West Ham expect? I don't know. I don't know what's going on here. I did not expect to be doing this video today. I really didn't. I thought the other day, when basically the landlord was suing the people that made up the tenancy agreement, that was a real indicator with how peed off they were with West Ham. There's no doubt about that. And for this to be happening, this other stuff again, I wouldn't be surprised if wherever the stadium offices are in that stadium, if they're just almost waiting for the next legal letter to land on their desk. This is not a workable situation. This is a situation just will end in destruction and will build resentment. I said the other day ultimately what I expect to happen. But realistically, I don't know. Well, just in case you didn't watch the other video, I don't blame you. The other video was 18 minutes long. I'm going to finish this in a second. I would imagine the bit of land that we're on, I'd imagine gets split up, gets divvied up. Half of it gets flats and whatever, shops and apartments, whatever, stuff gets built on it. And then West Ham, still on the land that we're on, but only sort of half of it, because it doesn't need the footprint of the London Stadium. I wouldn't be surprised if West Ham have to build a stadium there or something like that on the land. Won't be as big the footprint, but it'd probably still be a 50,000 seat stadium or something like that. That would be what I expect it to be. I can't see any way that stadium, a temporary structure that was meant to be dismantled in 2014. I can't see how that's going to stay erect for the next, pardon the expression, until 2030. That would be an impressive erection, wouldn't it? Let's be fair. It wasn't meant for that. It was meant to fall over. It was meant to be a semi-erection, let's be fair, after a certain amount of time, just turn into a 25,000-seater athletic stadium. That was the plan. If that doesn't happen, I'll tell you now, if we keep forcing the issue, I can actually see a situation where West Ham don't end up in Stratford at all.